This time on Roadkill Garage, we get rid of all the modern stuff on the General Mayhem. Freiburger!
Steve, save yourself!
Oh, dude.
Welcome to the episode I like to call Underhauling, because we are going to be returning the 68 Charger General Mayhem to the original Motorhome 440 power.
Yeah, it's a tale of good and evil to me.
Really?
Yes.
How does the good and evil go?
Well, I mean, it's good. It's a 68 Charger. It's arguably one of the most iconic cars produced by any manufacturer in the U.S. or abroad.
In history.
Ever.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And then you have the evil of a lot of extra doodads on this car that I really don't care for, to be honest with you, Freiburg. I don't know how you feel about it.
Well, it is the Hellcat. It does make 700 horsepower.
Yeah. But the simplicity and elegance of a Motorhome 440, maybe we need a little help with the stance on the car.
Yeah, for sure.
But mostly it has to be filleted like a fish, and all of the stuff that I don't understand has got to go.
Got to go.
Yes.
It's out of here.
Okay, we're in agreement.
So that's the stuff that you're going to be seeing throughout this second half of the season of Roadkill Garage. But before we get started, let's talk through some of the history of the General Mayhem. If I do say so myself, this car is a roadkill legend. It is certainly on the list of cars that made ratty muscle cars popular, and I'll say it's somewhere on the list of cars that made 68 and 69 Chargers spike through the roof on value, which is actually why it's a little bit ridiculous if you go back to 2007 when I first got this thing, because I traded it to this guy called Johnny Mopar for a set of cylinder heads. Now, by today's standards, the car when I got it's probably worth something like 10 grand today. The first time you saw this car on Roadkill was when Finnegan and I unburied it from this storage lot that I had, and we ended up buying a hilarious clapped out motorhome, and it's actually where the classic line Thermo Quad came from. The only carburetor that punishes you for going wide open throttle. That is the Motorhome 440 that ended up inserted into this car. We ultimately got it running and went out to the desert, and the legend of the car was born. I loved the thing. And then in a later episode, we ended up going to the Dirtfish Rally School, and I prepped the car a little bit to do that. I hopped up the engine just a little bit. I installed mostly Hotchkiss suspension on it, and yet again had one of the greatest times ever. I remember just broadsiding this giant puddle with it, and then Finnegan got behind the wheel, and he gets credit for the best gravel drift of the day. Oh, it was just awesome. Like, it's giving me chills thinking back on it, because that's what I want out of this car again. Why would I need to seek that out? Well, because everything changed for the General Mayhem at an event that was actually really radical. Roadkill Nights, sponsored by Dodge, they put us up into doing a race against the guys from Gas Monkey Garage. And at that time, they wanted to see Hellcat power in the thing, the 707 horsepower late model engine supercharged new Hemi that they were selling in new cars and still do to this day. And so the 68 Charger got all of the guts out of, I think it was a 2015 Charger at the time. The engine, the trans, the gas tank, all of the wiring, everything got swapped into this car. And of course, we went out there for the race at Roadkill Nights and got spanked. So this thing had Hellcat power, and we ended up taking it to a bunch of events, doing amazing burnouts with it. But after all of that greatness, the thing that's just gnawing at me inside is how much I loved it on that very first trip to Dirtfish. So it's my goal to revert this thing to the way it was that day. Might have some changes to the suspension, but we are gonna gut this thing stem to stern. We're gonna hack the roll cage out, and I'll explain it all as we go. But first, I feel obligated to give the Hellcat one last burnout. Ready for Hellcat Shriek?
I'm ready at all times. Keep it between the lines, Freiburger.
Pretty good.
Man, is it loud.
It is really loud.
All right. Was that literally smoking the tires that whole time?
Yes.
Wow.
It's kind of hard to walk away from the 700 horsepower burnout goodness, isn't it?
What are we doing here, Freiburger?
We're downgrading.
I know.
Don't you love how with the late model engines you could just put them on the rev limiter and totally not care because
Oh.
it's not going to kill itself?
No, it's completely bulletproof. It didn't overheat, had perfect oil pressure.
We're undoing all of that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the car has to come down 2 inches in the back. That body line along the side of the Charger has to sit level to the ground. It's more of a stock car look, not a drag racing look. So what we're gonna kick it off with here is looking at the rear suspension and figuring out how I can drop it 2 inches so that I can keep the big wide meats in the back. Ready?
Jack that car up, Freiburger.
So the suspension that's on here is very standard drag racy stuff. It's got inboarded leaf springs, super common on a Mopar. The springs are Calvert Racing split monoleafs. It's got Caltrax bars traction devices on it and QA1 double adjustable shocks in the stock crossmember. So the things that are already making it as low as it can go is the fact that the fabricated front spring hanger is already in the highest eye. It already has an 1.5 inch lowering block, and the shackles in the back are already as high on the frame as they can go. As a matter of fact, they're too high. The spring eye is hitting the frame, so that needs to be dealt with. Also, if I lower this thing 2 inches, the Ford 9-inch is going to hit the shock cross member. What I'm gonna do now is back off the Caltrax bar to find out if it's loading the leaf spring in a way that's holding the car up. And then I'm gonna take some pictures of all of this stuff so I can sort of noodle it over the coming week or two. Then we're gonna start shredding this thing apart. Great, okay.
That wasn't doing anything.
Seems like it was not.
No.
You know, this reminds me of a Roadkill Garage zip tie moment. Here it is. When I asked Dulcich to bring me some zip ties to hold up this Caltrax bar, he knowingly did not just bring me one zip tie, not even two, because he knew I was doing both sides. No, he wisely showed up with 4 zip ties. So here's the zip tie moment rule. Never hand a guy one zip tie. Guys under the car goes, hey man, can I have a zip tie? You walk over with 5 minimum. The other thing is, use up your white zip ties for jobs like this that you know are non-structural and that are not gonna stay on the car, because the white ones are junk. And that is your Roadkill Garage zip tie moment. It hasn't dropped at all, Steve.
So it's still lining up in the same place.
Lines right back up.
Okay, nothing's changed here, Freiburger.
Correct.
Yeah.
So back here, the body line is basically 29 inches.
That's gonna be 26.
It is 26. So the bottom line to all of that is it needs to drop 2 inches in the back, and I have no idea how I'm gonna make it happen, but I can research that later. Steve, let's gut it.
Oh, finally.
I can't even get the headlight out. This car's too complicated. 90% of the stuff we removed from this car, I'm not gonna be able to identify. Oh no, this is like something for the intercooler. It's all attached to 30 other things. Wow, this is gonna kill me. Intercooler.
Out.
How about the radiator?
See if you can wrangle that side. I think it's all disconnected.
Is it gonna go? This feels major.
All done.
Wow.
Out.
Wow, this feels like progress in butcher removal. Ah!
What?
What are you doing?
I'm getting rid of this hose.
I had drained that completely. I don't know how you did that.
I don't know.
What is this?
I don't know.
I don't like it.
Neither do I. Ah, look at this as like some kind of
Medical device.
a tree branch of, I don't know. It looks like the most effective game plan here for removing the engine is going to be to drop the whole thing out from the bottom with the transmission still attached. So I'm going to go underneath, do a little bit of a survey, cut the exhaust pipes, and what may end up happening is the front suspension is going to be dismounted from the K-member, and that'll free things up to let the engine and trans drop down.
Ah, yes. Oh, that's a victory. Ah, okay. This whole doohickey is what they call fly-by-wire. The throttle has no cable on it. It's all electric, and it requires that pedal. Now I gotta get the steering column out of this thing. Yeah.
Ready, David? I think I can remove the steering column from the splines.
If you do, be prepared for my tears of joy.
Okay, I think it's off.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa!
Oh!
There we go. Oh, yes. Ah, there we go.
I'll clear the unit.
Bending matter.
Oh, look at that.
Gone!
Ah.
That's a glorious moment. Ah, I hated that column the entire time. Whew! Look at all of this, too.
Lay it on me.
Ah!
Look at that.
Whew!
More spaghetti for nothing.
That's the real reason I wanted to get rid of the Hellcat, by the way. All of this stuff.
What I've decided to do here is just remove the suspension because the K-member is going to go with the engine. It's been notched to clearance the oil pan, and it's no good for any other application. So this is going to have to come apart anyway. The suspension, however, we're going to probably reuse with a different K-member. I've got the upper control arm here already released from the car body. I'm going to put a pry bar between the K-member and the lower control arm, and the whole apparatus, including the torsion bar, will slide back, and I'll be able to take the whole assembly off in one hit. Whoa! Whoa! The whole apparatus just dropped off in one hit, just like I said. Now, if I can repeat that on the other side, I'm gonna feel like an accomplished mechanic. I'm pretty happy with that.
All right, I think I got them unbolted. Yep, drag race seats gone. I actually like these Kirky aluminum seats, but not for this car. I'm going back to those Baja buckets that were in it when I first had it at Dirtfish. Bye-bye. An astute follower pointed out that I might have to have nitrous on the Motorhome 440 when we install it. Ouch! No more console. Someone's gonna need that shifter. So this thing has a sheet of aluminum diamond plate that's a dragstrip legal firewall, and it was obviously installed, and then holes were cut, then the roll bar was put in, so I can't actually take it out without cutting it. But first I have to unscrew it. Okay, now I gotta cut it right here. Well, it's morning time. We didn't feel like continuing to dig into the car, which needs the engine dropped out, and the fuel system and all of that stuff. So we're gonna take a break and meet an old friend, the original Motorhome 440 power plant. Here it comes. Ta-da! This is the same 440 that Finnegan and I pulled out of that motorhome in that early episode of Roadkill. And you know how I know that? This ear is broken off the block, Dulcich.
I believe you.
Yeah.
You know, this 440 is kind of important to me, too, because my very first MotorTrend show was putting this engine in the crop duster.
I forgot about that.
And we ran, like, bottom 12 with it?
Yeah, you're right. Around like really low 12s in the
Like
crop
12,
duster.
14, yeah.
Okay, where's all the parts and...
Okay, David, I'm gonna blame you for something. This was sitting as a short block at West Tech with the heads off of it below the Engine Master's shelf.
Okay.
And there was a bottle of Mexican Coke sitting on the pallet rack, tipped over, pouring Coke right down this hole, thereby rusting out this cylinder and causing all this rust. Now,
Who do I know that drinks Mexican Coke all the time?
No!
You!
It was
No,
you!
I drink the cans. You drink the Mexican
No,
Coke.
it was you. I was blaming you.
Oh! Okay, that's hashed.
Can't believe you tried to blame me for the Mexican Coke.
I don't drink the Mexican
You
Coke.
do
It's
too.
too sweet.
You
No.
know, you're always drinking
No,
Coke.
regular Coke.
You know you're not supposed to be drinking it. That's why you don't want to admit it on camera.
Okay, we're gonna go take apart my 440 that Dulcich ruined. I'm gonna try and scrape the Coca-Cola out of here. Ew.
That was all your fault, David. I blame you. It actually literally dissolved the cast iron.
Did it?
Yeah.
So the plan here is just to blow this thing all apart and get it to the machine shop, because as much as I would like to just throw it together as the original Motorhome 440, it's sat around too long, it's gotten gacked, and so it's gotta be re-ringed. I'm gonna go ahead and put forged pistons in it because I've got plans and stuff, so we don't wanna just deal with the cast pistons that are in the thing. There we go.
When in doubt, hammer it out.
Okay, the Motorhome 440 is off to the machine shop to get built. We're gonna hop the thing up. Should I use the cast crank or my forged crank? Dulcich wants me to get rid of the cast crank. The only part left of the Motorhome 440 is gonna be the block, but it is the original block. Anyway, we're gonna move on and pull the gas tank out of the trunk and all the computers. Do you see all that stuff up there?
There's no place to put your groceries there.
That's right. I should explain again that when they first put the Hellcat in this thing, there was no standalone kit for the EFI on a Hellcat, which is why every scrap of wiring from the donor car had to be in the thing. And truth be told, the reason I want the Hellcat gone is not the Hellcat itself, it's just all of this stuff. And you can see that we've got the gas tank in here and like 5 or 6 different computers. Wait till you see all the wiring and stuff.
All right, unbolted. Essentially, the whole shooting match should just lift right on out of there now, right?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, now all we have to do is get the transfer pump and hook it up right there, and then transfer all the fuel out of it.
Yeah, because that's the pickup. You're right. Here it comes. I hear stuff. There. I plugged this. Now it'll work, right? You're
It
sucking
just
on this.
created a vacuum inside the thing, but it can't be in the fuel.
So that's got to be some evaporative emissions thing, because it's just sucking right over here to the vent.
Mm-hmm.
How can we get something off and siphon it? Seems like these will come off.
Okay. You gotta be careful not to make a spark.
Oh! No! No! This is bad.
Put it back.
No, we need a big towel. We need to siphon somehow.
Yeah.
How do we get in this thing?
How about if we just pop a hole in the gas tank and stick the hose in there and start siphoning it out?
So you can think of a way to pop a hole without killing us.
Oh, I'm gonna try punching a hole in the plastic gas tank so I have a place to stick a hose in and siphon it. How is that scary? I am actually finding that kind of frightening.
Does that have a steel liner or something?
There's something going on.
Oh, but now it's leaking everywhere. You vented it or something. Look at that.
Oh,
You knocked it loose.
it's going in right through the rust hole in the quarter panel. Oh, no.
Is it hitting the floor?
There's more gas pouring out all over the place.
Should we push it outside real fast? Because this is bad.
There's no suspension in it.
What is the deal? I don't know how to get this back in.
Yeah, this really sucks.
Yeah, this sucks. Find a way. I mean, I'm holding this down as much as I can.
Well, I'm capturing the gas in those drain buckets.
Well, so should I just let it go?
Yeah, let it go.
Look at that. Is that going to work? Don't anybody, like, touch anything electrical.
It's a disaster.
It's a disaster.
Who filled this thing up to the brim?
I don't know. I do not like the unsafety of this.
No, neither do I.
This is worse than our normal spill.
Okay, this is kind of an unexpected problem. It turns out that the gasoline tank here is filled to the brim with gasoline. And the funny thing about this tank is it's got a left and a right side that are not connected, so they have to be drained separately. We've siphoned a lot of gas out of the right side, but the left side, there's no place to put a siphon hose in there, and I don't want to put an electric pump or anything on it that could cause a spark, because there's a lot of fumes here, so I made this little rig, speed handle with a big drill bit, and I'll be able to stick a hose right in the top of the tank and hopefully get most of the gasoline out. That worked perfectly.
Dulcich is the absolute master of inventing tools. And there you go. Siphoning without having to suck.
What a debacle.
It's dangerous, man.
No.
I don't like it.
I'm gonna have to go dispose of this in a socially responsible way.
Oh!
Oh, no.
Ready for remove?
Yeah.
Oh, feels much better. Yes.
Why do you take such delight in disrespecting technology?
This just proves that we're dinosaurs and don't know how to handle late model stuff. That's what this does. Okay, ready?
Yeah.
This is the mass extraction. Wow, look at this. We actually sent people to space with less wire than this. Here we go.
Whoa!
Oh. Ah. Yes.
Don't let it attack you, Freiburger.
The cleansing. Get off. Get off.
No, it'll try to
can do
kill
it.
you, Freiburger.
Ah. Oh.
Well, the car is a lot cleaner now.
I feel so much better. Now I think we're gonna go up to the front of the car and reinstall the front suspension to turn it into a roller. Unfortunately, I made Steve take it off, but this thing is gonna have to transpo both the car and the engine over to Birdsong in Las Vegas, and it ended up being easier to do that as one piece instead of taking the engine and trans out and having the car separate. So we're not gonna be removing the engine, which is great. Well, I lay awake all night thinking about the roll cage and what to do and stressing out about it, and ultimately, it's gotta go. Dulcich pointed out to me that I can't get the dashboard out with the cage in the car, and I gotta get the dash out to fix the parts that were modified for all that late model stuff. And so, here it goes. Wow. There we go. Gone. Okay. Look out your side. Yep. Got it?
Yep.
That's a lot of work gone right there.
Oh, I know, but I can just stick this in something else.
Yeah. All right, death wheel time. I got all these little stubs cut off pretty good on the other side, so I'm gonna hack them off this side before I start grinding them down. I'm gonna leave the plates in the car, but just smooth them. Meanwhile, Steve is gonna start installing my new rear leaf springs, which is step one towards getting the tail of the car to sit level. I wrapped up my job hacking the roll cage out of it, smoothing out all those plates. It's good. So I can help Steve throw in my new springs. Our old leaf springs that he just removed are from Calvert Racing, and they're a split monoleaf, and it also has that company's Caltrax traction device. This is a great setup for drag racing, but as I keep mentioning, I'm going away from that. And so instead, I'm gonna use these springs from Hotchkiss Suspension, which are the same thing that was in the car the very first time we went to Dirtfish. The thing is, now the springs are inboarded on the car, which means that there's more leverage on them so that they're gonna act softer than they would if they were in the stock position. So we're gonna end up having to fabricate a torsion bar type sway bar on the back, but that's way later. Right now, we're just gonna hang these things in and cross my fingers that it helps set the car lower, that flat stance that I'm looking for. Set her down. Front jack stands look good.
All right.
Oh, that spring didn't move at all.
No.
Oh, look how much higher it sits.
I saw it already.
Ah, dude, it sits like 3 inches higher. Wow.
That's amazing.
Okay, that was a failed experiment. I'm gonna have to get a leaf spring made and do some other tricks in order to get this thing low. So we're gonna put the front end on the ground and then it'll roll and this thing is ready to...
Well, now what, Freiburger? You had a perfectly running car, and you've reduced it to
Rubble.
Pretty much a useless pile of
Yes.
scrap metal at this point.
I kind of disagree.
tearing stuff apart is just part of the process, and it is progress towards creating the General Mayhem into version 3.0. Of course, there are some problems. Those new rear leaf springs that we installed, they don't make the car sit just right, and I think I have a scheme on how we're gonna fix that. But first, we're gonna roll this shell out to our buddy Chris Birdsong in Las Vegas, and he's gonna do massive sheet metal work to undo what needed to be cut out in order to install those drag racing wheel tubs. I gotta say though, even just getting this far is really satisfying. And as tough as it is to undo the iconic Hellcat version of the General Mayhem, I still feel like tearing it apart is one step closer to future glory and another chapter of awesome fun and action right here on Roadkill Garage.
They call that a blade? I need a blade, Freiburger.
Where are they?
They're in the second middle, the left toolbox, second drawer in the bottom chest. Ah.
Oh, what is this thing? I have no idea.
I will destroy the Earth with my P2000 modulator.
I got hit by the whip.
It makes no sense.